I wonder if I can just sit this up.
Hey, Karen, thanks for joining us. So happy to see you. Thank you for, I love your insights and your astrology. Karen La Puma is an astrologer who really has done the deep dive into the divine feminine, and she's written a number of books. Um, some of that, maybe you can tell me the titles.
A Toolkit for Awakening, it's called. And it's
Yes,
based on Joseph Campbell on the hero's journey and the goddess warrior.
yes. And you have a whole bunch of archetypes around the divine feminine, the goddess warrior archetype, and really showing and bringing up, emerging into our consciousness, women who are empowered and in leadership capacity. And so I love the work that you've been doing, and your astrology is just spot on. You're on the board too for what the astrology.
NCGR, the National Geocosmic Research.
Right. So as usual, when I get a vision for doing one of these divine feminine workshops, the vision that I had was to honor the consciousness of Mother Mary, which is on August 22nd. She is crowned Queen of the Heavens. And it's a acknowledgement of her equality, and her, male, female, but on equal standing, because she was raised up into the heavens, joined with the Trinity, and she was crowned Queen of the Heavens. So it was a really important metaphor and significance for really the respect and honoring of the feminine as an equal partner in our duality, because ultimately it's all one. But until we can really authentically get to oneness, you can't just have the divine masculine patriarcha up here and there's no counterpart. So we have to raise the divine feminine up, so that then when the two join in equal partnership, now you can experience oneness. You can't expect women to just leapfrog it, without the support of rising, because women have just come into our own in this past century. When I was as an early adult in the 70s, I think it was 1972, that women were allowed to have credit cards in our own name. We were allowed, as if, because before
Amazing.
that, women were considered property. And so, and you're owned by your husband. And so with the Voting Rights Act, which my mother was born, women didn't have the right to vote. And so then,
100 years we're celebrating now.
yeah. And we're still not getting equal pay for equal work. Plus the fact that women do the bulk of maintaining the family life, and which they're actually quite good at. And when they run the national family, they're finding out the female presidents of various countries are doing a far better job, in caring for the people as a whole. So it's a good thing, but the work still needs to showcase and give women an opportunity to see the elevated consciousness of a fully embodied, conscious being, in the female form, equal in partnership with the masculine. So there's that real strong, clear message that we are equal and collaborative. We have different skills and talents and abilities, or perhaps even the same. It's just the acknowledgement of the truth that we are the same life force. We're the same spirit. The spirit of life that you are is the same spirit of life that I am, and we are one in that life, and so is every man. And so we acknowledge and appreciate the sacred masculine, who is willing to take the time to acknowledge and appreciate us. So the vision that I had for the afternoon on the high holy day that Mother Mary acknowledges as being the day that she was crowned Queen of Heaven. That particular day, the Queenship of Mary, in the afternoon, I had a vision of doing some sacred ritual, empowering women, having women come together, the women who I call the forerunners of Mary, which is what you find when you read the Course of Love. It talks about these women who they speak of as the forerunners of Mary. And these are women who, when they've studied about Mary or they've heard stories about Mary, they feel like a quickening, an awakening, an aliveness with them. And they begin to feel like, oh my God, I'm being called. They feel so, they don't know exactly what to do, but they're like the depth of the call and the beauty of the call is so enlivening for them that they're like, how can I serve? What can I do? And so there is this message that's coming through now for gathering the forerunners of Mary and bringing these women together. And so I was curious to see what the chart showed for the 2 o'clock time on August 22nd, when we would start this. And so I'm going to share the screen, and then you could kind of just do an overview of the chart, what you're seeing, and then we'll go back to you and you can give us a more detailed explanation about these different components. But
Okay.
for those people who know how to read charts, and I don't have a clue about reading charts, so I have to kind of rely on the masters like yourself. Anyway, you can see the chart now and tell us what you're seeing here that's important as just an overview, and then we'll bring the camera on you.
It's a 29-degree Scorpio rising, so it's kind of the end of the old and then a whole new beginning is happening. And then we have this planet Sedna on the, let's say, 3 o'clock position of the clock, and that is like the outer depths of the solar system, and it represents revolutionary times. And it's like we've only lived a half a year of that in all civilization, and it happens to be right there on the descendant, which is others. So I thought that was important. So we're ending a phase, and there's this enormous transitional energy on the others, and we're just beginning. It's like the ending of one, and we're in this sign of Virgo in the 9th house, which is higher learning and spirituality. But the most important thing that you look at is that the moon is that there's so many feminine archetypes. The moon is conjunct in the 11th house, which is like 11 o'clock.
Okay.
No, yeah, 11 o'clock, sort of 10, 11. It in the clock, the moon is conjunct Juno, which is what are we committed to? We're committed to our emotional growth and balance and equality in Libra. And then it's opposing Mars in Aries. It's like the warrior god is conjunct Eros. This is another trans dwarf planet that is so powerful because she's the feminine awakener, and she's called the feminine goddess, and she represents speaking up and being dissatisfied, and she's called the goddess of discord, and she represents that activation. So Mars is activating the feminine awakener, and they're at oppositions of each other.
Yeah, now hold on right there, because to me that was like, wow. I love that terminology. Feminine activator, awakener. And this is Eros. Eros? How do you say her?
Eris, Eris. And she's called the goddess of discord with purpose, but she's the feminine awakener.
Yes. So she's speaking her mind, and she's conjunct, or you said?
She's conjunct Mars, which activates this energy.
Right. And Mars represents the masculine, right?
And assertion and drive and energy. And
so she's speaking her mind to this masculine energy.
Well, they're brother and sister in mythology, and so they're working together. But the most important, we have a T square, and actually it's a grand cross. But the T square, so we have the brother and the sister, the goddess of the feminine awakener and the god of war, activation, opposing the moon and Juno, which I'm committed to in equality, and they all square the patriarchal right now, which is Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. All are in Capricorn in the house of values. Now this opposes Venus. It's kind of, it could still be in mundane astrology because it's 14 degrees versus, it's still an orb. But anyway, so we have the feminine, there's different aspects of the feminine, the feminine womanly wonders, the creative aspect of the feminine versus the nurturing and intuitive aspects and the commitment. So they are all connecting with this, moving through the dynamic of the patriarchal, of the structures, the governments, what's happening right now. And this Venus, I call her womanly wonders, she has enormous creativity in this chart. She has an opportunistic
see, like, hold on there, right? So you have Eros, she's a goddess, right? And she's like squaring Mars. And
no, she's conjuncting Mars, square in the sign of the individual, squaring the patriarchal planet, right. Society's transformational energies and society energies in the structures.
But she's activating the feminine.
And then on the other two sides of the T square is we have the moon, which is the feminine, emotional, nurturing aspect, and it rules society and the masses also. And she's with Juno. We're committed to equality.
And it begs the question, what is it that we want to nurture? Right?
We want to nurture equality and balance.
Yes.
Balance in the world.
Yes, we want to nurture equality. We want the feminine activated. But then you said something about the relationship of all of these to each other has to do with the Venus creativity. And
okay, see, I want to go. I'll do that question, and then I have one more thing to say. Okay. Venus is sextile Uranus in the chart. Okay, and what that means is
I'm going to put the chart back up here a second, so people can look at it while you guide them through this. Okay.
But one other thing is Haumea, which is another one of these dwarf planets, which I'm just beginning to study. She is conjunct the moon and Juno, and she's a Hawaiian goddess, and she's the goddess of fertility, and she's right there in Libra. She's squaring this patriarchal too. So we have this enormous creativity. In mythology, she could give birth from many parts of her body. So she's fertile and creative. So that also, I don't even have her in the chart. She's called Haumea, Haumea. So these are new archetypes, and I really want to study them because they're bringing promise and hope to us.
But where does she show up in the chart?
She shows up right after the moon She's
Oh,
right she's like 25,
like at noon o'clock, at 12 noon?
no, 11th house. So
Oh,
she's about 10 o'clock on this chart.
okay.
So she's right with the moon and
Oh, she's
Juno.
with the moon, yeah.
So we have this enormous creativity and we're committed to it, and it's all about balance. And then we have Venus in Cancer, which is also nurturing and family and home and what's our fundamental emotional needs, is in opportunistic aspect with Uranus, which is like 4 o'clock in the chart, right before that Mars and Eris.
Yeah. So speak to this creativity. So creativity in the divine feminine world to me is the expression, the dance of, the ceremony to, and in the priestess world we often talk about activation, and we do ceremony to activate the divine mind, the great manifesting mind, to open our hearts so that we lead from our hearts and we connect heart to heart with other people of like-minded thinking, and we create a field. And then as that field gets created, then you have an enormous opportunity, because in the field of love, we rise above the battlefield, and we're not engaged in what's going on down in the world in terms of the fighting and the polarization and all the patriarchal stuff. And so, and we're in the bigger question, which is what wants to be nurtured. So I loved what you said, which is that the nurturing is the equality. And when people experience and respect each other as equals, then we have a chance for a world living in love.
And also on this day, we have the Venus is trining Neptune. And that's also enormous creativity, enormous spirituality. And it's about coming together, because this moon energy, which is really empowered and values, with the value system, it's in the house of the group endeavor and the friendships of the myth, and it brings up the spiritual. This particular day and chart that we're looking at, the moment, the birth of that event, or the continuation of the movement, has a strong emphasis of the 11th house, which is groups and friendships and collective coming together.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly so true. So as the women hear the call, and they understand that this is the initiation of the feminine activator awakened. And so the more that we join together in these auspicious times where the energy is totally in alignment for us, supporting us, and being able to stand in our authenticity, and to be able to celebrate the truth of who we are, and that we are equal, and that we want to create a world living in love. We want to create a world that's nurturing and uplifting of all of humanity. And so this is the way that our voice gets activated and spoken, and then the message goes out to all the collective minds, because ultimately, if we're all one, there's a level of the divine mind that's above the battlefield where we all get it. We all understand that it benefits all of us if we all love, if we all come from love, and if we take our guidance from love, and we stop with the separation and the polarization, but we join at the heart. So anyway, this is very exciting to me, that the chart was actually speaking to this gathering.
It's very important that it's the end of the old and the beginning of a new. That's very important. And a very interesting thing is this comet, Neowise, is been coming in,
Uh-huh.
And the last time that it was here, this woman, Stephanie Austin, this is her work. This is her work. She said that in 474 BC was the last time this comet came. And that was the end of the feminine, the goddess movement, the feminine, and it was the rise of the patriarchal. Well, I feel like now it's the end of the patriarchal and the rise of the feminine. So we are at the transitional stage right now. We are with the 29th Scorpio. We are in the beginning. It's time that we clean everything we can about our inner work. Do our inner work and keep our hearts open and stand up, but keep the vibration high.
Yeah.
That's because
that's what this ceremonies do. And Karen's going to speak at our afternoon, so you can learn more from her. She will be standing right in the energy of it and be able to transmit a lot of these ideas and concepts, so that we will, and being the goddess that she is, warrior goddess. So as a warrior goddess, she will be able to help with this ceremonial activation, the ceremonial feminine activator awakened. That's what we're going to step into, right? If we're creating the new. And just to reassure the men, when the women are activated in this kind of leadership position, women are collaborators. We join together, we include, we don't separate out. So the men, the same masculine men who attend our event, we know who you guys are. We know how incredibly integrated you are, how open-hearted you are, how open-minded you are. And that is incredibly important to us. So we do not eliminate you, we do not exclude you. We actually welcome you. We welcome you. We're so grateful to you for your level of consciousness, because if you're in a higher state of consciousness and open-mindedness, and we are also joining you, then the next thing we're all going to do is we're all going to become as one. But we're going to become at one from the heart, which is what's so exciting about this time. We are so fortunate, yeah? Karen, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to hearing your talk and doing a deeper dive with you. And we'll have beautiful, amazing music. And it'll just be the vibrational support that we'll have from all of these energies coming in. This afternoon is the forerunners of Mary, the women who resonate with Mary. In the evening, Global Peace Tribe program that Deborah Giusti and Scott Katamas are facilitating, which I will be speaking at, in that evening program, that's where it's going to broadcast out. But we need the forerunners of Mary to gather the energy so that it can be broadcast out, so that the field will be, we will be full of it. I will be full of it. You will be full of it. And we'll all join Scott and Deborah to be able to broadcast it out so that the field goes out at the level of the collective mind. The real change happens when we're all unified in the one heart, and we're all aligned with the truth of peace and love and joy. And happiness is so much more fun to live life like that, to be supportive of each other in that way. So you can get on the Global Peace Tribe and join us that way too. So anyway, Karen, I just want to thank you so much for this, what you've said. Blessed be.
Thank you.
See you on Saturday, August 22nd. 2 to 4 is the Forerunners of Mary, and then 6 to 9 is the Global Peace Tribe of the Divine Feminine. Thank you.
Blessings. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hold. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on here a second.